So where are the... Oh. The Great Impersonators by Foster Grant are available just about everywhere. I did 3 people there. Did you see that? Do you remember your dreams, Mr. Williams?
I remember one I had last night, yeah. I always have anxiety dreams about these talk shows. You remember the first time I was to appear, I couldn't sleep for 4 nights, you know.
That's right.
And I had to cancel it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and you wrote a nice letter about that.
Yes, I did. You never answered my letters.
You're right.
That's true, but you're a busy man.
But I would feel hesitant to have you see my writing, just as you would probably feel hesitant to do a monologue in front of me.
Not at all.
Not at all, yes, okay. Hold your dream, will you? And for my next guest?
Yes.
Would you volunteer
I will
for her?
indeed, yeah.
All right. That's Anne Faraday is her name. Someone told me once that even if you claim you don't remember it, you do dream every night. And my next guest is a British psychotherapist who has been trying to find out what dreams are about and what they are, and she has written a book about them called Dream Power, which is right here. It's a fascinating subject. Will you welcome, please, Anne Faraday. Try to have a chair. First of all, have they ever figured out why we dream? Can we get that out of the way?
No, nobody knows why we dream as a psychological process, but they think that it's a physiological process to resynthesize the brain protein. So, but we might really have a need to dream.
To resynthesize the brain protein?
Yeah, that dreaming is really a byproduct of a very basic physiological process. But this may turn out to be quite wrong. We may have a real need to dream.
First of all, they have established that everyone dreams, haven't they? There are
Right.
people who deny it, but didn't those REM cycle studies or the studies that involved the rapid eye movement cycle and all pin down the fact that there's virtually no one who doesn't dream, or literally no one?
Right, everybody dreams. Everybody dreams about 5 times a night. 5 big dreams, 5 vivid dreams, even if they don't remember them.
Why do some people have the impression they don't dream then? Why do they think that?
Oh, these are usually the people who think that they've got life tidily sewn up. And the real reason is that usually they can't be bothered. They don't want dreams. They've enough problems in everyday life. They think their dreams are going to bring them more problems. And they say, we can't be bothered with this stuff at night. You know, it's not real. It's not part of real life.
But aren't there people who are actually convinced that they don't dream? You're implying that they're hiding their dreams, but aren't there people who actually
yes.
could pass a lie detector test if they don't dream?
Oh, that's right. I mean, I've had lots of people in my laboratory, and I've awakened them during the rapid eye movement periods. And they've said they never normally recall a dream, but they have done when I've awakened them.
During that period where they're the most prevalent.
Right, yeah. Do you recall dreams?
I do recall them, but not for long. I wake up in the morning and sometimes I'll spend half an hour, it seems like, going back through them. I love it. I love to go back through my dreams and
you should write them down straight away.
Yeah, because I always think I'll remember them and I don't.
That's right. Well, they disappear very quickly unless you write them down straight away. I always take pen and paper to bed. As well as my husband.
Very lovely.
Yes, you're from England.
Yeah.
Do you record your dreams, Mr. Williams?
I used to when I had to remember them for the analysts, yeah. I used to keep the pen and pencil by the
Oh, you said the wrong thing.
Oh,
What?
oh, I'm about to go away. You've had analysis.
Mrs.
Not
Faraday.
now, not now, I'm all through that.
It's
yeah.
Mrs. Faraday. Or is that your maiden name? Faraday.
Well,
Dr.
do you know,
Faraday.
I'm going to be my academic top dog. Yes, it's Doctor.
I am sorry. I've committed a fox pass here.
But you can call me Anne.
All right, it's either Anne or Dr.
Call me
Faraday.
Anne.
But she don't hold with analysts.
No, I don't hold with
I
analysts.
don't either anymore.
Jolly good. How long did you have with one?
Well, you know, when you get panicky, you know, you'll go to anything. I suppose
right.
anything,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, I
And
had
so
3
I went
years.
to Amherst, yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, he really messed up my, I didn't say messed up my dreams, you know. Basically, my reason for going to the analyst, I mean, apart from being panicky about various things.
Were you panicky?
Well, we're all a bit panicky, really. But I wanted to know what he would do with my dreams.
Yes.
Being interested in dreams and having done research on dreams, I wanted to know what a Freudian analyst would do with dreams. And he just picked out of my dreams the bits that he was interested in and left the other parts alone. And then when I said, hey, here, what about the other parts of the dream that I'm interested in, he told me I was resisting.
So he could have it his way. Give an example of that. There's one in the book on page 103 in which you talk about a dream that you had and involved a friend of yours who was a hypnotist. You were at a gallery, I believe. Emma, I think that's the one.
Oh, that one. Yes. Yeah. Well, I won't go into the dream because it's too complicated, but basically I was in a theatre and I was floating around this theatre hand in hand with a hypnotist friend of mine who was wearing a bow tie. And we were saying hello to all the figures in my childhood. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we had a go at this dream. Oh, and then I think we all fell down at the end, but maybe you remember the dream better than I do. But we all fell down. My analyst said the interpretation of this dream was that I was very sexually attracted to my brother, right. That the dream had disguised the character of my brother as a hypnotist and put him in a bow tie so that my dreaming mind would not get to the terrible truth of this confession to myself that I really fancied my brother. Mm-hmm. Well, this seemed very silly to me because I was having dreams every other night, quite overt dreams of my brother making love to me, and it seemed very silly of an analyst to say that my dream was trying to disguise it on another night.
Well, maybe some nights you're ashamed of it and some nights you're not.
Or maybe there's another meaning to the dream.
Well, that's an interesting question. If dreams are ever disguised, I guess you shouldn't have told that dream. Listen to that.
Oh, wow.
They're coming for it.
They're coming for it.
I haven't said the wrong word, though.
No, that's our censor leaving. Let's take a break right now. We have a message, and we'll let the siren calm down, and we'll be right back. Give us an example, if you can, of a dream that how an analyst would analyze a dream. You give several, actually, in the book, and then how you think it ought to be analyzed, and if possible, how people could analyze them themselves. That's asking a lot in one sentence, but...
Well, I think my husband had a very, very good example. It would make a very good example for you. And he had this dream the other night. And in fact, we told it to an analyst, not my analyst, but an American analyst, the day after. And he gave his interpretation. Well, I'll tell you the dream, and I'll tell you his interpretation, then I'll tell you what we made of it, right?
Okay. Good.
Okay, the dream was this, and I think my husband must have a sense of humor, because he dreamt that Queen Victoria was coming up to him with a skewer. And she came and stood in front of him, and she said, "Now, John, my dear boy, you must be very brave. This isn't going to hurt." And she took this skewer and she stuck it up his nose. And it did hurt. It hurt terribly. And the blood gushed down, and the bone crunched. And...
Go on,
anyway,
go on.
Well, that was the dream.
He had that dream too?
Oh! My husband had this dream.
I'm sorry.
Right. Well, we told this to an analyst, and he said, well, I mean, I'm taking it off a bit now, but I mean, this is my picture of what an analyst would say. He probably didn't have the Middle European accent. But he said, "Aha, well, it is displacement from below to above." What words can I use on this program, by the way? Will I be bleeped?
Well, below and above are pretty racy.
No, that's all right. He said the nose, you see, in the dream had disguised the male sexual organ, is that all right, for the nose. Mm-hmm. And therefore, what was happening was that Queen Victoria stood for his mother. Mm-hmm. John was standing there, allowing... Oh, dear, well, I can't go on. You get the point, don't you? I mean, you know... Well, his mother...
I don't get it either. How come the women get it?
His mother, anyway, to put it briefly, his mother was castrating him. He was standing there passively, allowing his mother to castrate him, the nose being a substitute for something else, right?
Yeah?
Right. I refuse to be bleeped.
Okay.
Right. Well, what we said, we look at the dream as using a very special sort of picture language. Mm-hmm. And we said absolute nonsense. If the dream puts a nose into its picture, then it means nose. It doesn't mean anything else, all right? So I said to John, if you knew what Queen Victoria was doing to you, what would she be doing? And he just came back like that. He said, "She's putting my nose out of joint." Now, do you have that expression over here? It means to mess you about, to muck you up, to make you feel bad. So, all right, we've got to get to the meaning of Queen Victoria.
All right.
Well, in my book, I'm often depicted as the queen in my dreams. And I'd been on a panel that day, and in fact, I'd done quite well. So I was the victorious queen, you see. And so the dream had picked up...
The victorious queen?
The victorious queen.
But that's a pun. Is the mind that subtle in dreaming?
That's right. The mind is terribly subtle. And so my husband was seeing me in his dream as the victorious queen. And I came over as Queen Victoria. And I was skewing his nose. I was putting his nose out of joint. So I had to say to him...
Oh, balderdash, woman.
Oh, come on. You mean you believe the Freudians?
I'm resisting.
You're resisting the truth. But the fact is that I had done something during the day. Oh, yes, what Queen Victoria said also, when we did this on a bus going uptown, and the people around us must have thought we were completely mad, because I said to John, now you be Queen Victoria, you take the part of Queen Victoria, and I will ask you some questions. Why are you putting John's nose out of joint, Your Majesty? And
this is how you do it in therapy.
That's right, except we had no time, that day to do it at home, so we had to do it on the bus. And John sat there and he said, because John has a lot of bad blood inside him which has to be let out. You see, he answered himself. The meaning of the dream is this, that during the day I had done something which upset him. At the time he hadn't realized how much it had hurt him. Remember, in the dream, Queen Victoria said, this isn't going to hurt. But it had hurt him very much. And the dream had come to tell him how much he was hurt by something that I'd done, and I hadn't realized it either. The dream was saying it was causing bad blood between us, this thing. Actually, I'll tell you, it was to do with that gorgeous Russian poet, Levchenko. That's right.
His name came up twice tonight.
Yeah, and so what I'd done, I think I'd talked to him, and this had caused bad blood between us. And it had put John's nose out of joint. This is how the dreaming mind works.
That's
it's
interesting.
Fantastic.
I don't see why that's any more convincing an interpretation than the Freudian one, but it's nice.
Because it resonated with all our bones. Because John talked about it afterwards and said, yes, I didn't realize how hurt I'd been by what you'd done. It was only a little thing.
And that's how his recognition of the feeling that that's what it meant.
And
convinces you that that's the right
interpretation. If we hadn't got this understanding out, it really would have caused bad blood between us.
So each night you sum up what's happened to you during the day?
Right, in picture language. Terribly simple, really, once you learn it.
Is it possible that your husband just likes things shoved up his nose? Oh, I'm being irreverent. I'm sorry.